the story that Jeremy and I share is not epic. It's filled with a lot of just hangouts, as is the case, a lot of friendships, a lot of sitting around, playing games together, going to movies, that sort of thing. And I do want to talk about that. I'm happy to talk about that. But the amazing thing about Jeremy, and the thing that I want to talk about tonight, and I'll include Sarah Beth in a second, is that no matter what we're getting into, Jeremy has this ability to sort of stop and recognize significance beyond whatever we're doing. He has this great ability to sort of, no matter what the conversation is at dinner, we meet, he and Sarah Beth both are part of a dinner that I have at my house with my wife. And no matter what's going on in the conversation, Jeremy has this great ability and this great sensitivity to just stop the conversation in its tracks and to sort of get to the heart of something, and to get to whatever matters, I guess is the way to put it, which is to say, we can talk about, goof off, we can have fun, we can just talk about, whatever it is all day long. And in the middle of conversation, Jeremy can sort of ask this question that turns the issue upside down, and suddenly we're talking about Christ, about how to act day to day, about how to treat the people around us. Where it's not uncommon for Jeremy, for example, to ask a question like, and often in humility, hey, how do you think we should treat this person? And that's such a gift to having a friend. I mean, hopefully we go without saying, but in the midst of just busyness and living life, it's such a gift to have a friend like Jeremy that could just stop the day in its tracks, right? That sort of onrush of things that we're doing, especially when you're having fun, and just to ask a question, hey, why do you think this is the way that it is? Or how do you think we should treat this person, right, that we just came across? So, Jeremy, thanks so much. Thanks so much for being that friend. And what I've gotten to see in the last year or two is that Sarah Beth is very much a partner in that practice. That Sarah Beth, I can infer that they treat each other this way too, right? That they, in their relationship, bring up these questions and sort of confront each other with these pause buttons on life that say, okay, we're doing this, we're having fun, but wait a minute, what's significant about this? Right? What's the meaningful part of this that we can practice? And it's been a joy to see Sarah Beth be a part of that project too. And to change Jeremy in certain ways. Jeremy and I, maybe it was 2 years ago, we sort of had this, I guess, like midlife crisis thing where we're like, you know what, every Saturday we're going to do something big. Something big. And we didn't even really know what that meant. We're just like, we're just going to do something. And so we're like, as a sort of like restless maneuver, we just sort of like, okay, well, what do we do? Well, the first thing that we chose, I think it was the first thing. The first thing that we chose was like, on a random Saturday, we just started looking at abandoned buildings online. It's like, okay, well, what abandoned building? This is interesting. Let's go like photograph an abandoned building. Let's go like explore in there, right? And we got in trouble with the law. We got in there, it was this place, I think it's in, maybe I shouldn't be specific. Or maybe we'll be arrested. Maybe the story isn't over. But anyways, it's that sort of thing where even on the drive back, we had this like thing where like, wait a minute, I think we shouldn't be in here. And then I poked my head out of a window of this abandoned warehouse, and there's like 3 cops out in the courtyard. And then it got exciting. Anyways, again, I can't be too specific, or I'll be taken to jail. But on the way back, I remember that car ride on the way back. And the sort of conversation meandered around as it typically did with us. And yeah, we were like still sort of buzzing from the excitement of the day and running away from the cops like bad guys. But even in the midst of all that, Jeremy and I having this conversation that ended up a little bit on his romantic life and on church and that sort of thing. And it was those kinds of sweet afternoons that I remember with Jeremy that really embody a history with Jeremy of like, no matter what we're doing, no matter the excitement, no matter how loud the circumstance is, Jeremy is always very fast and very willing to say, what are we missing? Right? He's always very sensitive to say those things. And again, it's a joy to have that as a friend, and I'm thankful that Sarah Beth is a part of that too. So thank you guys so much. Toast to you. Next up, Tony, do you want to be next? Sure.
Hi everyone. Ooh. Okay. Hey, so my name is Tony Jackson, and so I'm Sarah Beth's maid of honor, but more importantly, she's my best friend. Sorry. So first I want to say thank you for everyone to coming. I know this means a lot to Sarah Beth and Jeremy, so thank you for taking time out of your Saturday to come. So Sarah Beth and I met 6 years ago at UT, go Vols. Um, sorry, Vandy people. But we met 6 years ago at University of Tennessee, and so I met her at a sleepover party for our campus ministries, Vols for Christ. And so in the early hours, like 2, 3 a.m., we're sharing a sofa bed. I look over at her and I say, I like you. We're going to be best friends. And you know, when someone tells you you're going to be best friends, you're like, okay, whatever, weirdo. I won't see her tomorrow. But I would just like to say, I was right. But so a constant I've seen over the past 6 years is just how well SB loves others. She loves her friends so well. She cares for them. So I've just been so blessed by that. And when you do life with someone for 6 years and you start growing up and you graduate, one of the hopes you have for your friends is that they will find someone who loves others too, but also who loves your friend in such a Christ-like love that's so demonstrated on the love that Christ has for us. Jeremy, you're our answer to prayer, my buddy. I'm so thankful for you. And Jeremy, something just like watching you in the past year is how fiercely you love my friend. You love her so well. So I just wanted to say thank you. And something that keeps me in awe of Jeremy is not how much he loves Sarah Beth, because that is amazing. Because she'll crack some jokes and be like, oh, okay, here we go. But he laughs and he rolls with it. He's like, yeah, I like it. So thank you for loving my friend well, but you love us, her people, her community well. And I know we have all been so touched by feeling that love for you. And I just, looking out into your marriage, I know that you guys are going to continue to love people well, not as individuals, but as a unit, because you do it now, and we've been so blessed by that. So I'm blessed by the love that you guys have given me. So I wish you guys a lifetime of love, patience, corny jokes, fun times, and all of the reruns of The Office. But love you guys so much. Congratulations, Jeremy and Sarah Beth. I wish you guys the best.
Hi, my name's Amanda. I am Michael's wife who just spoke, and I'm not going to do as well as Tony and Michael did at not reading, so I will read my speech. But C.S. Lewis says that friendship is born at that moment when one person says to another, "What? You too? I thought I was the only one." I'm up here because Jeremy has been a good friend to me for many years. I met him at a ministry through our church, All Souls, where we were being trained to be better listeners to people's stories. It was based on the premise that most people, if you show enough patience and interest, will come to new insights on their own if they are listened to well. And I saw in Jeremy then a spark that made him stand out and made him different to me, which was just a commitment to tireless attention on other people and their struggles that I really found to be born out of an acquaintance with his own brokenness and the love of God that he had found. And so in that I found a great deal of consolation and friendship in him because of my own coming to that place as well. So it's not just me that finds Jeremy to be such a good friend. I would say that the reason my husband and I have had him as close of a friend as we have has been mostly selfish. He's totally about us. I'm sure most of you know that when he shows up, he sees you, and whatever may be on his mind takes a back seat to where you are, what you're interested in, and how he can become a part of that with you. Because of this trait, Jeremy probably knows more about my tasks as an office manager, my work dynamics at the restaurant I worked at, and now the world of finance than he knows what to do with. Thank you, Jeremy, for being such an example to me over the years of outwardness and resolve to be about other people. And when Sarah Beth entered the scene, it didn't take me long to see that while they're very different in the way they do their day-to-day, they are not much different in the way they approach other people. She's become a place of rest and friendship for me as well, because there is no pretense with Sarah Beth, only a sincere, brutal pursuit of knowing and giving away the love of God. Their home will be undoubtedly a place where many people want to be because of the open-handedness with which each of them holds their own lives. I'm excited to make dinners, play games, watch movies, worship, share stories, and hopefully even take trips with these two for many years to come. Cheers.
I met Jeremy when I was 12 years old, and a friend of ours introduced us, and Jeremy had an afro at the time, and we were awkward boys, I think. He was much cooler than me. He's 3 years older than me. He was then, he still is, and that was middle school. He was already in high school, and then I went to a private school, and at the time, we decided we were going to go to the big public school that Jeremy went to. And my mom, kind of knowing that I wasn't going to have any friends, kind of introduced us and said, hey, Jeremy, could you give Troy a ride to school in the mornings and things like that? And you saw a lot of his groomsmen today at the wedding. That whole group of people took me in. They were all seniors when I was a freshman. And if you remember senior and freshman days, those dynamics can be weird sometimes, but they did not make it weird. They were very kind to me, and no doubt Jeremy, I think, had a lot to do with that. One of the days, I'm just going to tell some funny stories. I think we all know what they mean to us, so I'm just going to try to tell some funny stories real quick, if it's okay, because having known him since 12, there's just some material to deal with. So, John Falco, one of the groomsmen, and Jeremy, they had early dismissal. Do you remember senior early dismissal when you get out of class early? Being a freshman, I did not have that privilege, but I desperately wanted to leave school early. So I asked Jeremy, I said, can I ride with you? Can I sneak out with you of the school? And he said, well, yeah, but there's a guard, so you have to get in the trunk. And so I got in the trunk of the car, and we rode past, and they were so cool, Falco and Jeremy. They just, like there wasn't a dude in the trunk at all. And on the way home, he kept popping the trunk, to my horror, making me have to close it. And he would just pop it right again as soon as he heard it close. One of the nights when we were in high school, someone broke into my house, the apartment I lived in, when no one was there. We were kind of all out of town. The next night, while I was there, someone tried to break in again. Very scary thing at our house. The third night, I told Jeremy and another friend of ours, a mutual friend, I said, will you guys come, and I need to protect the fortress tonight. So I had a bow and arrow. Jeremy had, I believe it was a giant knife. Is that right? Just a Rambo knife. And we had some nunchucks. And we just waited up all night praying that someone would break in for the third time. I've never seen more fervent prayers from teenage boys than praying for that. This is my third wedding with Jeremy, the second being my wedding, to which he was my best man, and the first wedding being a friend of ours at our church growing up, and we went late because we were doing something very important. We had an NCAA football tournament going on, and we had written out a contract for the all-time winner. And so we were it was a very deep thing that we were involved in, and we didn't want to be bothered with it. So we showed up to imagine the point of a wedding when you're eating right here, and speeches are happening, and everyone's looking up, and then two people come in shorts, cargo shorts, and a shirt, and everyone just looks at us like we're idiots. Because we are idiots. Imagine at this point someone walking in and saying, what's happening? And goofy little boys and things like that, you think to yourselves, well, they were probably 14 or 15. I believe Jeremy was 21 at that point. I was 19. So, throughout all of life, being 12, you talk about relationships, you talk about girls, you talk about all the things, and all the crushes that you have, all the relationships you have. And being kind of an older brother to me, Jeremy just always listened. of everything. And I never remember a point in life where I felt like he was angry that I was telling these things. Think about just think about that for a second. All the stupid stuff you tell your friends now. Now subtract 30 years when you're a kid. All the stupid things you tell. Surely there's points in life where you say, okay, I love you, bro, but please just stop. Please just shut up for 5 seconds. He never did that to me. He just always listened to me. When I moved to Nashville, we would just call and talk, and we were in our mid-20s at this point, and we would just call and talk for 2 or 3 hours at a time. The first time I got a cell phone in high school, the first call was to Jeremy Parker. The giant, big old cell phone, just putting it up to my ear and saying, hello, Jeremy, and him doing the same thing. These are all kind of moments that you just come to you as you're thinking about them. But what I just wanted to say is, who could want a better brother than that? Who could want a better brother than someone to grow up with you together through your foolishness, through your stupidity, through your adulthood, through your relationships, through your marriage, through the highest highs of your life and the lowest lows of your life, and to just be there, and to argue with each other, and to reconcile with each other, and to argue again with each other, and to reconcile again with each other, to let Christ break into your friendship over and over and over again throughout your lives for decades at a time. What kind of brother is this? What a blessing. Again, with all the relationships throughout our lives we've seen, because we're getting older now. As someone reminded us last night, we were talking about a beach trip we had just taken a couple years ago, and one of the people at the table said, oh, I was 11 at that year. To which we thought, good, help us, we're getting old. But to grow together in that, I look forward to so many more years. And now with the blessing of Sarah Beth, the blessing of their union together, it enters another phase of friendship. And so I just wanted to say thank you so much for Jeremy's friendship, for Sarah Beth's new friendship, and just for another phase of life. I look back at all the things, literally from childhood to adulthood, and I look forward to just the very simple goal of growing in Christ and dying together as friends. Cheers to Jeremy and Sarah Beth.